afternoon for sure.
But it's my birthday today. My birthday.
Happy birthday. It's your Taylor Swift year. Yay. How do you feel?
I feel like a new woman. Taylor Swift released her album for me. That was strictly because of me, so you're welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
It was for my 22 year.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're welcome.
We'll let you have that. Thank you, Emma, for being a Scorpio.
You're welcome.
This has been a blessed Scorpio season.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good Scorpios.
Do you feel the energy?
Especially in this house.
Yeah, it's really bad. I'm a Scorpio moon, so
yeah, so there's a lot of energy in this house.
Yeah, no, we're good. It's great.
So we're starting our podcast.
Oh my gosh, it's our first episode.
First episode.
Oh my gosh.
Take 2 though.
Oh my gosh, is everybody so excited?
Everyone's shaking, crying, throwing up.
Yeah, I kind of just had to fake everybody out. I told everybody it was happening one day, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah, we just gotta spice it up, keep everyone on their toes. That's what we do, you know.
Yeah. So Emma has this case, and I know very little about it. Like, as time's gone on, we've talked more and more about it, but I still don't know.
I feel like she just forgets all of it.
I do. I'm pretty stoned.
Yep. All the time.
Most of the time.
So nothing really stays in.
Nothing stays in unless I make it a point, and I make almost nothing a point to stay in my brain. So
nothing stays in.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to hear the crazy shit. I know that this is kind of a wild one.
It's an intense case. It's unsolved. It's from the 70s, which is a prime time for weird, odd killings. There's so many in the 70s.
Well, because you could do anything.
Anything that happened in the 70s.
It literally didn't matter.
Hitchhiking?
Yeah.
Whatever. DNA? Don't know what that is.
Yeah. What? Also, during things that upset me, I'm gonna put headphones on. So if you hear me just sitting, not talking.
So it'll be like a well-known trigger warning. So I can let her know when to put the headphones on, and then you guys can know when something graphic will be coming up as well.
Yeah. I don't like to listen to it, and I don't want to hear it, and it upsets me, and
okay.
I'll freak out and jump probably through the window.
Yeah, but the main trigger warnings, it is to do with children, and it gets into assault of children. But I'll let you guys know when it will be coming up, because I can't just throw that on someone. Besides Madison, I throw that onto her. Sorry.
And then I run through the wall and leave a hole in the shape of my body, like a cartoon character.
Like the Hulk.
Yeah. This is like the Looney Tunes house, kind of. Like, we're all kind of just
kind of
cartoon characters. Alright, let's fucking do it.
We'll get into it now. Okay, so this is going to be the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders. I'm setting up the location of the case. So it's going to be in Camp Scott in 1977. This was in Locust Grove in Mace County. It's kind of like outside of Tulsa, just to get an idea of where it is. I have no idea any of that, but maybe someone does.
Yeah, I've never been to Oklahoma.
It only exists for this case.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
There was one other thing that I thought Oklahoma.
Yeah, we thought of 2 Oklahoma things, but then also sorry if you guys hear it, baby.
Yeah, if you hear my baby screaming, it's because I have a baby, so I can't make him not scream.
He's going a little ham right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just be screaming. I taught him that. I taught him how to scream.
He has things to say, and he's gonna say them.
Yeah, he's very opinionated. He's talking.
Gosh darn it. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So this is a good name. So it's the Magic Empire Council of Girl Scouts of America.
Oh my god, fucking Hogwarts.
They've been located at that location since 1928, and then a little fun fact is after the murders, they literally closed down, never opened again.
Yeah, good.
It's now abandoned. People aren't allowed to go, but like I read somewhere that it's hunting grounds, but I haven't found a lot. There's honestly not a lot of information on the entire case, which is kind of frustrating because of how insane it is.
Yeah, that's stupid as fuck. Also, dumb name.
It is a dumb name.
Dumb name.
Like, hate them. Name. I hate them. Okay, so it holds 7 campsites. Each section is for a different age group. I'm pretty sure it goes up to 15, I want to say. But yeah, so it goes young, oldest, all different. There's 7 all over this area. It's 410 acres, and it's surrounded by super dense woods.
Nice.
Dense wood. Like, it is thick woods. It was very known for...
On paper, sounds cool place.
Yep. Yeah, no, on paper it sounds nice. The camp sessions last 2 weeks, all summer. Every 2 weeks it'll swap out for a new, session of girls. On June 12th, 1977, 130 girls arrive at Camp Scott.
That's a shit ton of
so many
people.
little girls.
Yeah,
little
I
demon
forgot about
children.
that. Oh my god. Fuck.
The youngest, I believe, would be like 6-7 years old. I'm pretty sure that was the youngest.
Dude, so little.
Yep, no,
That's
tiny little infant babies just waddling around.
Small kids, dude. Out in the woods like that. I don't know, man.
Yeah, we'll get into it. So the 3 victims were in the youngest unit, and that's the Kiowa unit. The oldest was Doris Denise Milner, but she doesn't go by Doris. She'll only go by Denise. She was 10 years old. This was her first time at Camp Scott. Originally, she was going with a group of her friends. They were selling Girl Scout cookies to raise money, but last minute they backed out, which honestly, good for them, but still sucks. Denise then didn't want to go anymore, but her mom encouraged her to go, which makes sense, but sucks for her mom. Like, I couldn't imagine that.
Ugh.
Traumatizing. All 3 girls are insanely smart. Like, that's a weird, like, they're all extremely smart for how tiny they are. Denise was a straight A student. She was from Tulsa. She had a little sister who was 5 at the time. By the age of 4, she had taught herself how to read and write, and she loved to dance.
That's kind of wild.
Yep, no, could
4?
not be me. I'm still learning how to read and write now.
I know.
So that's, you know what, she accomplished more than I have. Denise struggled with leaving her mom, so before leaving, her mom ended up actually getting on the bus and made sure that the counselor in training promised that if Denise needed to call home or anything, she could, and her mom would come pick her up and get her if she needed to. Yeah, not exact response.
I don't like that.
And it's actually sad because she ended up wanting to call home later on, but they encouraged her not to and said she could call in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah. It's
cool.
Sad.
Yeah, great.
But that's what they're supposed to do, so you
I
can't blame
know,
them.
but fuck, dude.
Yeah, I know. You wish she was able to. But they all wrote letters to home. I'll talk about that in a second. So the counselor in training was 15-year-old Michelle Hoffman. She's in a lot of the articles and transcripts. She's a big part of it. She was actually pretty cool. Props to her. She made a very big point to look after Denise.
Good for her.
Yeah. She rode on the bus. She sat in the front with her. She made sure that she knew she was comfortable. Michelle Hoffman also realized that Denise was the only, and literally only, of 130 plus girls. She was the only black girl in the entire camp. So she
I forgot about this too.
Yeah. I assumed you would forget about
Shut
everything. So she could understand how that could be making her feel on the outside. So she made a point to make sure she felt comfortable, which was points to Michelle Hoffman.
Yeah, queen shit.
Then we have another Michelle, and this is one of the other victims. Michelle Gousset. She was the second oldest, and she was 9 years old. She's from Broken Arrow, which I don't know where that is, but it's outside of Tulsa. That's what it is. Cool. Yep, cool name. Cool name.
That is a cool name.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
That's a cool name. Not magic fucking ball busting Girl Scout slinging. Slinging.
Slinging. This was her second time at Camp Scott. She loved soccer. She wanted to be a math teacher. She had an old...
Could not be me.
Could not be me.
Sorry.
Nope. She had an older brother that was 13 at the time. She loved her plants. She loved her plants. Her specialty were her African violets. As she was leaving, she made a very big point that her parents had to promise her to take care of all of her plants, to water them, make sure they were okay. She was like, you better do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michelle's...
I'd be pissed if I left for 2 weeks and my plants were fucking dead.
That'd be...
That would happen if
I
left.
If you left your plants,
if I left my plants for 2 weeks with Emma and Jose, and I really don't think that they would be okay.
They wouldn't be. The outside ones could be fine, but the inside ones I'd forget about within a day.
Yeah.
Within a day, honestly.
It's disappointing.
Michelle's parents have said that the way she said goodbye made them think that she knew she wasn't coming back. Yeah, her dad was the way she hugged us and how she was saying goodbye felt like she knew this would be the last time she was going to say it.
Well, these children are geniuses. They probably...
No, they sense things.
They do. Absolutely.
Her dad later created the Victims' Bill of Rights. It helps victims and their families on medical bills, and they're help counseled on all of their rights, which is...
Good for him.
Really awesome. At least something positive came out of all of this. And then the youngest is Lori Farmer. She's 8. She couldn't decide between Camp Scott or the YMCA camp, but her mom ended up picking out the camp and the session she would go to because, they do 2 weeks all summer. so she picked the session and the camp. But Lori is terrifying. By the age of 16 months, she knew the Pledge of Allegiance, and her IQ was 130. 130.
Excuse me, that's so weird. I mean, not weird. It's insane. That's very great.
Good job
for her. But
and she skipped the 2nd grade.
Bye. Don't need y'all.
Yep. No. So, 50 miles outside of Tulsa, they all arrive, and there was several tents for the campers and one for the camp counselors in each unit. They were all 12 by 14 canvas tents, and it sat on a wooden platform and usually held 4 cots, like 3 to 4 cots. As the girls all got settled in, unpacked, each unit were able to pair up. So all the girls, like, usually they would come in friend groups and they would pair up with their friends, but due to the fact that the 3 girls, Denise, Lori, and Michelle, came by themselves, they were all just kind of, this is awful to say, but they were kind of like the leftovers, and they were paired together. And this is actually, like, insane. There was supposed to be a 4th girl, and something messed up in, like, some kind of paperwork, and she ended up being in a different unit, and there was a storm that night, so they were like, okay, she'll just go to the Kiowa unit in the morning. So she ended up actually not being in that tent, which is insane. Thank God. Yeah.
Fuck.
I've read on a forum a woman claiming that was her. Her name's Melanie, and she said that after that she suffered extreme anxiety and couldn't sleep alone, her entire, like, teenhood up until, like, adulthood, and she still has really bad anxiety.
Holy fuck, yeah.
Yep. Could not. No, could not imagine that. At about 5:30 p.m., they were at the Great Hall, and then a fat Oklahoma storm hit. All the activities were cut short, and all the girls were sent back to their tents to, like, dry off and settle in.
Yeah, and Oklahoma storms are, like, fat. Like,
yeah, you know all about Oklahoma?
I know that the weather is crazy ass. It's fucking
crazy.
Wild there.
Yeah, wilded. In some units, they sang some songs, and this is when they started writing letters to their families. I'm drinking coffee, sorry. Lori's letter is, Dear Mom and Dad, and Misty and Joe and Chad and Kathy.
Yeah, all those people.
All of them. We're just getting ready to go to bed. It's 7:45. We're at the beginning of a storm and having a lot of fun. I've met 2 new friends, Michelle Gousset and Denise Milner. I'm sharing a tent with them. It started raining on the way back from dinner. We're sleeping on cots. I couldn't wait to write. We're all writing letters now because there's hardly anything else to do. With love, Lori. Lori's parents also ended up organizing an Oklahoma chapter of Parents of Murdered Children 7 years after the murders. Just a side note of all of the parents.
How old was Lori again?
I think she was 8. Yeah, she was 8.
8?
Yeah. And she wrote that. No, literally.
I'm shook. I think I remember being shook about that last time, but yeah. Fuck, that's crazy.
I'm shook every single time. Michelle's letter was, Dear Aunt Karen, how are you? I am fine. I'm writing from camp. We can't go outside because it is storming. Me and my tent mates are in the last 10 in our unit. My tent mates are Denise Milner and Lori Farmer. My room is in shades of purple. Love, Michelle. And we think, like, I read somewhere that the shades of purple was talking about her room, like, back home. Not, like,
random
her
kid.
tent. Yeah.
Kid.
Yeah. Just
fact.
Yeah. Just a fun fact. Okay, Denise's letter was, Dear Mom. This is really sad, so just heads up. Dear Mom, I don't like camp. It's awful. The first day it rained, I have 3 new friends named Glenda, Lori, and Michelle. Michelle and Lori are my roommates. Mom, I don't want to stay at camp for 2 more weeks. I want to come home and see Cassie and everybody. Your loving child, Denise Milner. And Cassie, I'm assuming, is her little sister.
It would upset me so much to be stuck in the woods for 2
I would
weeks if I didn't want to be there.
I would just wouldn't. Nope. So 2 months after the murders, Sherry and Charles Farmer, along with Betty and Walter Milner, sued the Magic Council for more than $3 million in damages, but they ended up losing, and both of the appeals. And this is a side note to all of the articles, since this is in the 70s, they literally, I had to dig so deep to find the name of Lori's mom's name. They didn't have it anywhere. It was just
it's bizarre
Mrs. and Mr. Charles Farmer. And I'm like, ma'am, no. So I said her name first
really
because she deserved it.
Yeah.
And that makes no sense that they lost the appeals because the camp has a very long history of weird things. Like, bizarre things. And it just makes no sense how they didn't win it. They should have. They really should have. So, a year prior, this is kind of just showing how insane the camp has been and how there was very little security or measures to protect the girls. So, a year prior, a staff member found someone trespassing. They told them to leave, and that's all they could do. So, that one's not insane because
it's kind of out in the middle of nothing.
Trespass into a camp just for funsies. Then Richard Day, who was, he's the husband of the camp director. He saw a man walking around holding a clear jug, told him to leave, nothing happened. Ben Woodward is the camp's caretaker. He found tent number 7, which, yes, the girls were in. Had a 4 to 5 inch slash on the side of it, and yes, this was the day they all arrived.
That's crazy.
Yep. Insane. Literally makes no sense to me. 2 weeks prior, 2 counselors were followed during an on-site training session. Then another on-site training. 2 months prior, Michelle Hoffman found an empty donut box. And this is just so much fun. With a note on the inside that said, "We are on a mission to kill 3 girls in tent 1. Yep. Yep, she freaked out. She thought that was super disturbing. She really did not like it. She was not having it. There was also, during, the same, day, there was a camp counselor's bag that was rummaged through. There was a few items stolen, and I know that glasses were stolen out of that. The camp director, Barbara Day, claims she didn't know about the things being stolen, so when she was told about the note, she thought it was a joke, so she just threw it away. She just threw it away. Yep. Joking about, killing little girls.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing to joke about.
Which also makes no sense when you're just gonna throw these things away and you don't win the 3 million damages.
Yeah, I just
don't make sense. Whatever, whatever. Another little girl. I'm not exactly sure who she was to all of this, but I'm pretty sure this was also during the on-site training session. She was probably just a counselor in training. She claimed she saw an effigy of a male doll hanged on a branch in the woods. There was also genitals on it, just hanging out. Yep. I don't know. There's also some people saying that she just made it up, but that I feel like that's very detailed for something to be made up. And why would you make that up? I don't want to think about a male doll with its junk hanging out.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Where do you even get a?
Where do you
get a? Do you make it?
Yeah, it's
who's out here sculpting dicks for?
I don't know.
Fucking
weirdos.
Okay,
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know. It's a weird location, so a lot of weird things happen. The security for camp was a gate that's been said it was extremely easy to hop, so that's what was protecting the girls. All of the girls were under the age of 15. The camp counselors were 18 through 20, and the counselors in training were around 15, give or take.
Too young.
Yep.
To be watching
so
kids like
literally the oldest would be 20.
Oh my god.
And I'm being 22, could not watch that many girls.
I could not be in charge of the people that I don't know,
too many.
That's wild.
Weird things happened that night as well. Extremely weird things happened that night. So the first day of camp is always crazy. Everyone's getting settled. Everyone's first day away from home. So everyone's going ham. The early night, camp counselor Carla Willite and Dee Elder had to go quiet down the girls in the Kiowa unit. They were so Carla and Dee are the counselors in that unit. They're the ones who are watching the girls. The unit was in a horseshoe shape, which ended up having the counselor's tent being the furthest from tent number 7. Side note, there's a whole bunch, Wikipedia says they were in tent number 8. Technically, there was 8 tents, but the counselor's tent counted as 0. So there's technically 8 tents, but they were tent number 7. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just interesting that they wanted to take out the donut box note said take out tent number 1.
Yeah.
And they're in tent number 7.
Yeah.
So did they think?
I don't know. I've heard some things saying that was it ever at any point number 1?
Yeah.
Was it flipped at some point? Which is interesting.
Yeah.
And how did they know it was gonna be 3 girls? Because all the other ones had 4.
Yeah.
Why this one 3? Interesting. It's weird. How would they know that? Anyways, but how the tents were shaped, there was, and I think it was the showers. There was a shower building in between, so it was completely blocking the view from the counselor's tent and tent number 7. No view of it.
That's
there was
so
a building
weird
blocking
to me.
Yep. At about 1:30 a.m., the girls in tent number 4 were being super loud, so Carla went to quiet them down. But while doing this, and I quote, she heard a deep guttural moaning coming from the woods.
Weird.
She said, sounded like a bullfrog. It didn't sound like a human or any animal I've ever heard before. Which is extremely creepy.
But she said it sounded like a bullfrog. That's
yeah.
kind of funny. Like, I understand.
Little frog
like,
just chilling
I
in there.
understand, like, what she, like, meant by... She's like, it sounded like a bullfrog, but it didn't sound like any person or animal I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was like a deep moaning.
Oh.
And there was also a faint light in the woods. When she would shine her light into it, like, towards, like, the sound and the light, it would both stop. Like, immediately. It would just stop. The moaning sound was coming from 4 different units. So, like, 4 different units reported hearing that. So that's weird.
Yeah.
I just throw up. But she was so creeped out by it. She's like, I shined my light at it. I'm dipping now. I'm not doing that anymore.
I'm putting my headphones on now. So if I don't say anything, that's why.
Wait, why? It's not yet. It's not yet. We're up here.
Oh.
We're not there yet. You're okay.
Okay.
You can take them.
I'm listening.
Okay. Sorry. There's multiple accounts of seeing a dim light all through the camp. Multiple tents also had things stolen from them. Another pair of glasses, which everyone needs to remember that because that comes up later. A girl in the Kiowa unit was woken up by what she thought was a man just standing at the opening. Just in the tent, just staring at her, and he was holding a flashlight. Yeah, and there was no men like on camp besides the camp caretaker, and then Richard Day.
Which, sorry to like be sexist, but you know, if I was a little girl at that camp and I didn't see like at least one large, tall, dad-looking man.
To protect me?
That had a tool belt with screwdrivers and, utilities and was taking care of everybody, I think I might have to go.
Yeah, I would.
Because I'd be like, these people can't fucking protect me. I know it's hard to be like, whatever about that, but I feel like that can be a shared sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, at least just someone protecting. I don't know.
Like a Jose there? That'd be great.
Big man.
Big teddy man.
Big man protecting.
Yeah, I would feel great.
So after them just like staring at each other, she was just sitting there just staring at him, and he's just staring at her. He just closes it and walks away. He just,
that's so weird.
Just leaves, and she goes, okay, goes back to sleep.
No.
But to be fair, she probably was like, I don't know, it's the middle of the night, I woke up, I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know, I was a dude, he didn't do nothing, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah. At around 3 a.m., Wilma, a little girl in the Cherokee unit, which is across from the Kiowa unit through the woods, she heard a scream. Then at another unit, someone heard Mama being screamed over and over again, which is thought to have been Lori. Now, the next morning, June 13th, around 6 a.m., Carla was heading to the showers to get an early start to everything. This is when she saw sleeping bags. And then you can play it. Are you listening to Taylor Swift?
Yeah, duh. Hold on, are these on right? Yeah, no, they are.
Okay.
Is this... You can hear it?
No.
Okay.
You're vibing.
Okay.
This is when she saw sleeping bags. She first thought it was just like dropped luggage because she knew that there was supposed to be more luggage brought in, so she thought it was just something that had been dropped. She looked closer, and that's when she saw Denise at the bottom of a tree. Her face was severely beaten. Her pajama shirt was pulled up underneath her arms. Her pants were missing, and her legs were spread open. Her arms were tied behind her back with cord and tape. It was also wrapped around her neck. I can hear it.
Huh?
I can hear it.
You can?
Yeah. Not to be laughing at it.
Sorry.
Oh, it was just Taylor Swift.
Sorry.
That's okay. You can put it back on. It's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. You're fine. You're good.
Can you still hear it?
You're good. You're pretty. You're good. I'll just talk louder. You're good. Sorry. Okay. So a hand-sewn gag was still in her mouth. This is when Carla rushes to wake up Dee to do a head count of all of the girls to make sure to know how many girls were missing. Carla then rushed to the camp director's house, Barbara and Richard Day. After screaming and banging on their door to wake them up, they finally came out. They then got the camp's nurse, Mary Ann. They all rushed back to the scene. This is when they call Highway Patrol Officer Harold Berry. I believe that they called him because 911 wasn't a thing yet in that location. We Googled it and like it was a thing, but I don't think in Oklahoma it was, because I did read that they called him because they didn't have 911 to call. While waiting, Richard pulled what he could of the sleeping bag over the lower part of Denise. Once law enforcement arrived, they unzipped the other 2 sleeping bags. This is when they found Lori's body, which was reported that it looked like she was just sleeping and could wake up at any moment. She looked very peaceful. It was likely she was struck to the back of the head while she slept and then carried to the location. Same is said for Michelle. It's thought that Denise left the tent alive. At the scene, Denise's body was still warm at 70 degrees. Lori and Michelle had already started a rigor, and so the time of death was estimated to be 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. for, like, all 3 girls. So probably closer to 2 for the first 2 girls, and then 5 a.m. for Denise. Michelle had her arms tied to her sides. It said it was almost like a hog tie. She was also raped and her head was bludgeoned. Lori was molested, but according to a chemist, Janice Davis, she found decomposed sperm on her body, but it's like largely reported that she wasn't raped, but that one woman said that she did find decomposed sperm on her, so you can take what you want with that. Denise had the worst of it all. She was raped, beaten very severely. She was sodomized, and they also found a pubic hair on her.
Hello.
You're good now.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm back.
You're back. You're back.
I was listening to Taylor.
Yeah, I assumed you were. I kind of talked about it. It's okay. We'll now be talking about what they found at the scene. So they found a roll of duct tape, a red 6-volt bucket flashlight that was wrapped in a green plastic bag, and there was a hole like cut out in it, so that would account for the dim light they saw in the woods. There was also newspaper stuffed inside of the flashlight. They found beer bottles, a crowbar, but I don't know if the crowbar was ever like the murder weapon or anything. It's all over the place. Everything is all over the place.
Okay.
Like, police did not do a very good job. There was bloody sheets and mattress toppers that were stuffed inside the sleeping bags, which makes me think they were intending to dump the bodies elsewhere, but then got spooked and just dropped them all there.
Yeah, because you don't just leave all that
you
shit.
Don't, like,
you literally killed somebody.
Why
with
do you
it.
clean up a crime scene and then leave it a few yards over? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. No. Also, all the scene itself was, they had to walk by the counselor's tent. It was like right next to the counselor's tent. So they had to walk by all 8 tents, and it was like over in the woods, but just right by the counselor's tent, which is also very ballsy of them to do. The autopsy showed that there was more than one weapon used in the bludgeoning, and they were used in both the left and right hands. So that also indicates more than one person. 2 different knots were used in the tying them up. There was also a fingerprint found in the lens of the flashlight, but it was never identified. 2 different shoe prints were found, a size 7 and a size 9. But the main suspect they end up having is a size 11.5.
Yeah.
So that just, come on.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. And then this is just a shout out to the Magic Empire Council. The first thing they did after this happening, they called their insurance and then attorney. And then the families.
Sorry, it's not funny, but it's like...
It's ridiculous. That's what it is.
It is ridiculous. Fucking coming for you.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, destroying them. And then when they did call the families, the only thing they said was there was an accident and a few girls were hurt. Yep, that's all they said. That's all they gave.
Oh my god, that makes my stomach hurt.
It doesn't even make sense. Like, they technically didn't even call the families. Like, when they say this, that's kind of like a lie, because Lori's parents weren't able to be reached, so they ended up contacting, like, the closest person they could, and that was just a family friend. So the family friend had to go tell Lori's parents that she was now dead.
Yeah.
Like, they had to put that on someone else. Like, it's yours now. You can deal with that. And then Michelle's parents had to find out from seeing it on the news that their daughter was killed. Yep.
My god.
From the very beginning, Sheriff Pete Weaver, he's a character. He's stupid.
We don't like him. We don't like him at all.
He's stupid. He just releases the most ridiculous things, and, like, he has a point in some things, but then he's just stupid in other ways. He said Gene Hart was involved from the very beginning. He did have a good reasoning. So it's not yet. I'll tell you. You're not yet. I'm just getting in the beginning of it.
No, you're good.
In 1966, Hart was only 22. That's my
triggering.
age. And he committed his first known crime. It was at the Corner of Dreams. It was a very popular area. It was filled with nightclubs and a bunch of live music, so that's why they called it the Corner of Dreams. This is where he met two 18 and 19-year-olds. They were both pregnant. And I've tried finding any info on them, but it's nowhere to be found.
So we don't know if they're like sex workers or anything?
Nothing. No information on them anywhere. Don't know how they are now. Don't know how their kids are now. I'm also a little curious. So due to the fact that Denise had the worst of it and she was the only black girl, I'm curious to know if either of these girls were also some type of...
Not white?
Not white.
Yeah.
Because that would also kind of feed into the theory of Denise being targeted, but we have no information of it. I did message a bunch of people for more information, but everyone ignored me because they hate me. So that was...
You suck.
Yeah.
And you can't have this information because it's mine.
Nope. Yep. It was theirs and not mine. So that was sad. You can put your headphones on now.
Thanks.
So this means we're getting into another graphic of what happened to these girls. So he held them at gunpoint and he shoved them into the trunk. He had newly laid out newspaper, and during the car ride, he would swap them out. It's kind of vague as to, like, how many times did he do it, like, more than once. It's a difficult case with not a lot of information. He would also try on their glasses because he's a weirdo, which is also fitting into the glasses being missing at the camp. So that kind of adds into that. One of them actually like fit his prescription, so he wore it because he's a weirdo. I also read a bunch of reports saying that the reason he would do this is because he had a small face and women's glasses fit him better. And instead of just buying women's glasses, he had to steal them because he's a weirdo. He drove them into Mace County, which is also where the camp is. And then he drove them deep into the woods. In articles, they called them Joan and Barbara, so that's what I'm going to be calling them because even if I found their names, I wouldn't even say their names because they don't want them out, so why would we put them out? So Joan got the absolute worst of it. He raped and sodomized her 3 times in the backseat of his car. Each time he did ejaculate, which is a little side note to, from the camp, that, like, if some reason it was only him who did do the killings, he would be able to ejaculate more than once. That's just a little side note just to add to that, but I highly doubt it was only one person who did it, because, like, clearly he was involved. Like, there's no doubt about he was involved, but to what extent, we don't know. I'm really sorry to be, like, this is gross, and I don't want to be saying it, but it is a direct quote, so I just want you guys to know how awful and disgusting this man is. Barbara was assaulted, but she was more pregnant, I'm pretty sure, and she was, and I quote, tender and dry, which made Hart very upset. So he stopped and then raped Joan 2 more times. He left them gagged and bound. He covered their bodies in leaves and then left them for dead. Okay, so that's pretty much all of it. I'm telling her she's good now.
Hey.
Okay, so now this is kind of like aftermath. It's a little bit of it, but it was kind of about them getting free. Okay, so one of them got herself free and then managed to get both of them all free, and they got to a payphone. They described Hart as being incoherent and making odd growling sounds.
Ew,
which also adds to the guttural bullfrog sound.
Weird.
Yep. Like, why are you... I hate him.
You think you're a fucking caveman?
Yeah. No, literally that's what he thinks.
Oh my god.
You didn't hear it, but, so you know how he, like, steals glasses?
Yeah.
So people have said it's because he has a small face and, like, men's glasses doesn't fit his, so he has to steal women's.
That's really pathetic. Not that it's pathetic to
no,
have
just
a
go
woman's face,
buy,
but, like,
just go buy the glasses. Don't be a weirdo.
Yeah, God.
Hart was charged with 1st-degree rape, 2 counts of kidnapping. He got a 10-year sentence, but you guessed it, he was let on parole.
Great.
Yep.
What, like 3 hours in, right?
Yeah. I can't find anywhere how long he was in there for.
I'm assuming I have to assume it's 3 hours.
Yeah, it was 3 hours.
Yeah, great.
But, of course, few months of being paroled, he committed a week-long burglary spree.
What?
June 1st through the 7th.
fuck?
Yep, a week-long burglary every single day.
I'm just gonna do it every day.
No,
Until they
that's what he
catch
did.
me.
It was in 1969. The first two were done on the same day.
What?
Yep, same day, back to back. Early morning, late
Okay.
night. Yep, ridiculous. The things that were mostly taken was wallets, purses, a knife, and then money. And then he's so smart, big brain. He made the mistake of breaking into Heather Campbell's apartment. She was a police officer.
Damn.
She was a police
Fucked with
officer.
the wrong
Yep.
bitch.
She had gotten home and she heard him like breaking in and she's like, "Oh no, not for me. Not today."
Not in my house.
So she heard him and then scared him away. He dipped. She called law enforcement and then listen to this. Once they showed up, they heard him breaking into another apartment upstairs.
Oh my god, you're joking
I'm
my
not
ass
joking.
right now.
And so he got arrested. Yep. He's that stupid.
What the fuck,
Yep.
dude?
So since he was on parole, he received 305 years. Yep. Because he's an idiot.
305 years.
Yep. But I don't.
They're
there's
just
a
making
lot-
shit up.
No,
They're just
there's-
making shit up at this point.
There's a lot to be said with like law enforcement, and so Hart's a part of like the Cherokee community, and so a lot of speculation has been thought about him having a lot of inside people, because that's a very large community in Mays County. So he ended up escaping twice from prison. Yep. Escaping. So the first time he escaped, I don't know how he escaped the first time, but he was very, very quickly caught right after.
Yeah.
But then, wanna know what he did? Used a hacksaw. He sawed the bars away and dipped, and then he was on the run for 4 years.
Oh my
Yep.
god. How does somebody so okay.
No,
fine.
you don't understand. It's because
Yeah.
he had help. He had to have
He
help.
had to have help. He's not that smart.
And this is when Pete Weaver was now officially chasing him, because that was Pete Weaver's jail. So that's where like Pete Weaver's vendetta kind of comes in. And this is when the manhunt.
He escaped my prison.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
so-
was being Peter Weaver. Is that his name? Peter Weaver?
Pete Weaver.
Peter
You
Weaver.
can call him Peter Weaver.
Peter Weaver. Peter Weaver. Peter
Weenie.
Weezer.
Petey Weenie.
Petey Weenie. Okay.
So now fast forward to like 77. OSBI, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, eliminated all male suspects. One was Jack Schroff. His farm was broken into, and it was like right by the camp. What was stolen was canned food, pop, beers, 3 crowbars, and a sash cord. A boot print was also found outside that matched one from the crime scene. Even though that Jack was cleared, the press ran a photo in the newspaper and was like, he did it.
Damn,
Yep,
really?
yep.
They did
And
him so dirty.
They just said, look, it's Jack, guys. He did it.
He did it.
So that was great for Jack, even though he
Jack.
didn't. He was cleared. So everyone kind of zoned in on Hart now, which did cause the Cherokee community to back up Hart, like, to the fullest extent. Like,
It's a little
absolutely.
frustrating.
Very frustrating, and I feel for the families because it gets honestly pretty bad.
You know, I feel for the community too. That feels like they have to
Because-
defend themselves
Yeah.
to that extent. But like,
And it's
you still
all-
have bad people in your community.
Yeah, and but you also have to think about like my thought is like, what was law enforcement doing to make them think
Yeah,
that they
absolutely.
were
Being racist.
Yeah.
Like that's not an isolated incident.
yeah. So it's a whole storm of awful things going on in this entire case.
Yeah, it's just sad. Like,
yeah. It was suspected that they even helped him evade police during those 4 years, and once he was a suspect in the Girl Scout murders.
that's probably likely.
Yeah. Suspicions grew even more when it was leaked that sperm was found in the semen evidence, but it was very well known apparently that Hart had a vasectomy. So it couldn't have been his sperm, but also I can't find any like medical records of it being confirmed.
Yeah.
So it's like it could have just been all hearsay. Who actually knows if he had a vasectomy or not? But that was something that was mentioned. Before being caught, a lot of odd things were said by law enforcement. Like a lot of odd things. Sheriff Weaver just be talking. He'd be talking. No, listen. So Pete Weaver announced they found a murder weapon. But the police department released a statement that they had no idea what he was talking about.
Oh my god.
Nope, that's not true.
Yeah, they're like, we don't claim him.
Yep. June 19th, he said they had found a suspect, but District Attorney Sid Weiss said they didn't. They're like, no, absolutely not.
So fucking
Then,
funny.
no, listen, it gets even worse. And then OSBI released a statement that they had actually 3 suspects. And want to know the funny thing? All within the same day. So, when Pete Weaver said they had a suspect, District Attorney Sid Weiss said no. Then OSBI said, no, we have 3.
Okay.
No one's communicating.
We actually don't know anything.
Yep. And then DA Sid Weiss then did a complete reversal and said, sever suspects and a mountain of evidence.
Okay.
Sir?
Yeah, you sure do have
evidence. So having real evidence wasn't a thing. They had no actual solid evidence in this case. Like, at all. They had tracking dogs, and it was even said that they had found evidence, but we never see it. Never see it. Pretty much everyone just kind of, like, named the dogs the Wander Dogs, and their names was Harris, and then Butts. I think it's Butts. That's what Morbid said. They called it Butts. Yeah, Butts. And then Duchess.
Okay.
But no, this is the weird thing where, like, more than just humans come into play. So it said that a medicine man put a curse on the dogs to help Hart. June 18th, one died from a heat stroke.
No.
Yep. The other 2 ended up running into traffic and dying. Yep, several times.
That's weird.
Yep,
as fuck,
within the
bro.
case. On June 20th is when Harris did. It was Duchess or Harris was left last. Like, they were there for a little bit, but then they both ran into traffic. No idea why. Happened.
That's weird.
It's just suspicious. It's weird.
Okay.
June 22nd, 2 brothers were out hunting and they found a cave 3 miles from the scene. Agent Arthur Linville found green plastic, which also fits to what was wrapped around the flashlight.
Yeah.
Red underwear, a roll of duct tape, a sunglass case, which I think matched the one from the scene. Yep. Newspaper that matched what was stuffed inside of the flashlight. So clearly this is where someone was staying from the crime.
Right.
2 photos, which are of 2 women. They're wedding photos. Once they were released, a prison officer recognized them from when he was part-time wedding photographer.
What?
Yeah. So he worked
That's so fucking random.
He worked out of the prison.
What? He's like, fuck, I took those.
It gets a lot weirder. He would develop them at the photo lab. Like, they had a photo lab in the prison, which is weird.
Okay.
But want to know who helped him? Hart. Yep.
You're joking.
I'm not joking. It was at the Oklahoma State Reformatory, and Hart was working with him. He was his assistant. Yep. He worked with him for a little over a year, and Hart had actually developed those exact photos. Yep. But Hart's mother, Ella Buckskin. Sorry, her last name gets me every time.
Buckskin?
Buckskin.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
She made a statement that Weaver had planted those to incriminate Hart further. Which, it's just weird. Why would you have those 2 photos? Like, they had nothing to do with him. They were just friends of the prison officer. Like, that was his friends, like the officer's friends. So why would Hart have that? That does feel a little bit planty. It does. Like, out of all of it, that's...
Yeah, fair enough.
I feel like that's the weirdest, and I have to side on that, because that is a little weird.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yep. 2 weeks after, a farmer reported seeing someone who matched Hart's description on a hillside, and then 2 more caves were found nearby. One was only a mile from the camp, and it was actually on the land of Jack Schroff.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which a 16-year-old informant led them to it. And he was never, like, questioned as a suspect. And due to the fact he was 16, you can't find anything on him at all.
Yeah.
But it is a little suspicious because why do you know where it is? On one of the cave's walls, there was written 77-617. The killer was here. Bye bye, fools.
Okay.
And the fact that this was written, like, out of order, like, the year was first, people think that that's military way of writing it.
Yeah.
So that's also, like, someone in the military could have written that. So that
Could
just a little
Allegedly,
side thing.
I
But
don't
also,
know.
why would you write that? That's kind of weird. Whatever. They're all weird anyways. It was also, it was also said in one... I'm sorry, this is kind of funny. It was also said that in one article that there was a bag of flour with poop in it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird. You're just gonna poop in a bag of flour.
I want to do that.
Yep.
I'll leave it somewhere.
Also, out of a lot of hard work, I mapped it, and Hart's mother house was only 1.9 miles from the camp. Like, I Google mapped it.
You're hilarious.
It took
But, like,
so long. I
dude,
was like,
nice.
because like I like was looking because there was like photos of it, but it doesn't have like exact like measurements from
Right.
the camp and from the house. And I was looking at that, and I matched it to Google Maps, and then I mapped it, and it's 1.9 miles.
That's so sexy of you. That's so sexy
you.
of you.
I also said that Hart had multiple people help him evade police. And this is like very interesting. It's estimated Hart had over 200 relatives in the region.
What?
Yep.
Well, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And that's
weird.
because
It's
of, yeah.
intense, yeah. But
That's
like
a lot
that kind of
that's
just
a lot of people to
a
know.
lot of people.
I'd never meet anybody again. I never make friends ever. I'm like, well, I have 200 people
Relatives
already.
though.
Yeah,
Like
relatives.
related.
Yeah, yes.
Which would make a lot of sense with why there was some DNA that was found that was only a partial match to Hart. So if it was a relative, it would make sense. Okay, so on June 24th, 200 law enforcement agents and 400 volunteers helped search the 4 miles around the camp. Of course, nothing was found. The public was instructed not to carry any firearms, yet multiple people were. Which is really funny. This one is my favorite. People were also arrested for being intoxicated and possession of marijuana.
What the hell?
Yeah. Isn't that kind of funny?
That's-
Okay.
It's fucked up, but it's funny. Like, you're just
Yeah, I'm gonna
chafing
go.
while
I'm
you're,
gonna
like,
go like search for evidence, as I'm just gonna be possession of marijuana.
Yeah, just smoking a joint in the woods looking for evidence.
Yep. That's the way to do it. That's why I don't believe in public helping searches, because it freaks me out. Because what if the killer or whatever was helping, and they're just hiding evidence as they go?
I mean, yeah, but, like, also that's kind of what they bank on.
Ooh.
Is, like, certain
Don't believe it.
killers want to come
Yeah,
check out
they
and see,
can-
and they want to be involved. you
Yeah, but they
know?
can also just hide it when they're help search, because cops are stupid and they don't pay attention to who's
You're
doing
right.
what.
You're right. Okay, fair
Yep.
enough.
You know.
Fair point.
Police also used heat-seeking instruments, which led to, again, nothing. And what they said, like, the reason behind it not working was the weather.
What?
Yeah.
The weather. Oh, yeah, it's just the weather.
The weather couldn't help us find evidence. That's what, you know.
Okay.
Ugh. So this is, like, kind of a weird one. So since Camp Scott was so large, weeks following the murders, they employed a security company to watch the grounds. According to the guards, there was someone living on the camp still.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
Unaccounted footprints were left in the sand.
okay.
Doors were being left opened. On multiple occasions, they saw a person deep in the woods.
Okay, not
Yep,
suspicious.
No, they're just chilling. They started tying strings in between trees to try and track the movements. And there was broken threads, but nothing came from it again. Like, they didn't
Okay.
track anything. It was just broken
How would
threads.
that even... Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just what they did. Tracking dogs were also... sorry, Madison just had her hand in her pants.
I was adjusting, like, I was scratching my leg. And I was, like, trying to be careful because the microphones are right next to my leg. And I was like, fuck.
Gotta go deep in. So tracking dogs... Well, tracking dogs were also brought in, but they would lose the scent out of nowhere.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it would, like, pick up a scent.
Just drop off.
Yep, and just stop. And they would just go away. This comes back later for a different theory.
Okay.
For
Okay, cool.
part
cool,
2.
cool.
But some of the empty fields it would lead to would be on, like, by the Kiowa unit. So, which is weird.
Yeah.
Whatever. One of the tracker dogs ended up coming back looking like it had got beaten by a stick.
What?
Yep.
That's horrible.
Yep. Isn't that insane? Yep. Just come back. And nothing came from it either. They couldn't find out who did it, who beat him with a
Okay.
stick. July 29th, the guards see a person in the woods. For some reason, they all go check it out. Like, all of them. They all go check out the
Did
person.
you learn nothing from Scooby-Doo? right? Like, that's classic, like, okay, split up in pairs,
Scooby-Doo.
guys. Come on.
I mean, yeah, that is
Okay.
correct. Okay, yes, no, because guess what happens? They return, finding nothing in the woods, but at the base of the Great Hall steps, they were using it as an office. It had a plastic bag, with wet pink socks and Denise Miller's shoes. Denise Miller's shoes were in the bag, wet, with her pink socks.
Ew.
No idea how or where it came from. The bag was sealed, and it was not a crime scene bag. And
What?
again, nothing new came from it. They have no idea how it got there. They weren't in evidence. The other girl's shoes were in evidence, but Denise's shoes just show up on the steps. So somebody put them there, but no idea who put them there or why.
They just...
Yep.
Okay.
In a
Just
bag.
put them there.
A sealed bag. With their pink socks.
That's really weird.
So now, 10 months after the murders, Agent Larry Bowles was... I know. I try not to laugh every time. Just cackling.
I'm way too high not to laugh at that.
He was undercover in the Cherokee community, and he discovered Hart was hiding out with a man named Sam Pigeon. I paused because I knew she was going to laugh. There she goes.
You could have warned me.
Oh.
I'm crying.
Wait, you know in BuzzFeed Unsolved where it's like Wheeze? That's us right now.
Cover my mouth.
Yeah, so they found out where he was hiding. So on April 6th, 1978, at 4:15 p.m., a team of 8 OSBI agents stormed the house located in a remote area 45 miles from the camp. He was arrested without incident. As Agent Bowles handcuffed Hart, he asked him, "You killed those girls, didn't you?" Hart's response was, "You'll never pin this on me." Then, a somewhat of a controversial photo was leaked to the public with Hart, with the agents. They were all posing, smiling, being like, "We got Hart."
What?
Yeah. Which is like, I understand, but it's also like, okay. So, Sam Pigeon and another medicine man, so they were both medicine men, they were arrested for aiding and abetting Hart. And then, March 19th, 1979, 2 years after the murders, the trial begins. And that had 900 prospective jurors. Churros? Churros. The trial began. The town's 4 motels were almost completely booked. And then local restaurants were all preparing because they knew like the massive crowd it was going to bring in. Yeah. And then this was 21 months after the murders. Like, that's insane that it took that long for all of it.
People were glued to this shit, too.
Yeah, probably. It was a national case. But, and, like, that's what weird about that to me is how Hart doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Which is, like, is weird to me.
Is that weird?
I think that's weird. Like, less people have Wikipedia pages, and, like, he did a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And, like, I know he was eventually acquitted of this, but he's also charged. He had 300 years in prison. I feel like that's deserving of a Wikipedia page.
Maybe just no one cares.
Yeah, no one really cares about him. But this is going to be the end of part 1. Yeah,
we're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done. We have part 2 next. I don't know when that's going to be released compared to when this one is going to be released.
Yeah, no clue.
Hopefully everyone enjoyed listening to us wheezing.
Yeah, I'm literally wheezing.
So episode 2 is going to be, I'm going to talk about the trial, and I'm going to talk about, like, what evidence they presented, and theories, suspects, all of that, which is so convoluted. I had a freak out the other day about it because it upset me so much.
Yeah, it's true. All right, we did it.
Okay, we did it.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Like, comment, subscribe. Side note, I'll be putting all of my, where I got all of the information, in whatever description we have on whatever we posted on.
So shake that ass on that like button, everybody.
You're in timeout now. You gotta stop this.
Okay. All right.
Good night.